What up? This is James with OinkArtLTD.com. Today we're going to be showing you that you can in fact use the Oink mop filled with Oink ink and not get any drips out of it. Then we're also going to do a more detailed buff test today where we go over the ink using an oil-based paint, and then we also try to remove the ink using chemical solvents. As you can see, this time the mop didn't produce any drips because it wasn't squeezed at all. And this time, if I squeeze it gently, I'll get certain drips in certain spots, but not a lot of them. Now we're going to remove the Oink ink using white paint, just like the buff usually does. And then we're also going to try to remove it using a chemical solvent like the buff does. Instantly when the paint is applied, it's already showing through the paint, but as the paint dries, it'll pop through the layer. But you'll notice that it's no longer black as the ink is, it's now blue. And so I just painted over a layer with bucket paint. It's literally not even dry yet and the blue's already completely showing through it. Now you'll notice in less than 10 minutes, the blue, which is due to the methylene blue that's in the Oink ink, is already showing through the white primer. As you can see here, the ink is not that color. The ink is a black ink with a blue tint, but because of the methylene blue, it shows completely through that oil-based paint. Now, let's try it with a chemical solvent removal. This is paint thinner, like the buff will typically use. Let's make sure this Oink is dry. Looks good. You'll notice that the paint thinner gets off a ton of the blue stainer, but it's not removing the tag at all. Now, as you can tell, when someone tries to remove the Oink ink using paint thinner or any other solvent to remove it, they might smear it and fade it out a little bit, but you're always going to have what we call a good ghost, which is this still visible tag. Here's the fresh ink, here's it after the buff. So you can't really beat that. And notice, after 15 minutes, once the bucket paint still isn't even dry, the tag's completely showing through it. Let's try and see if a second layer of paint knocks it out. So even with the second layer of paint, before it's even began to dry, you can see that the blue ink still shows straight through it. And as the paint continues to dry, it'll come through it even more. Let's see if we can't remove the other tag with even more paint thinner though, since we're here waiting. We've gotten off quite a bit with the towel, but that doesn't change the fact there's still a lot more to be removed. Smeared but not defeated. And as you can see, even after you try twice with paint thinner to remove it, all that you're really going to do is smear it and possibly fade the tag out a little bit. Here it is with the original ink, and that's even been hit by the buff a little bit. And here it is after being scrubbed twice with paint thinner. Most ink would be completely removed by the first time. Oink ink is still around after the second time. Now even after 2 layers of paint, you'll notice the blue still comes straight through the oil-based paint. It's faded a little bit more, but it's still there. Oink typically is going to take at least 4 to 5 layers of paint before you completely cover it. Visit OinkArtLTD.com today to get your ultra staining Oink ink and an Oink mini mop.